Dear students, I welcome you to these online classes of the chemistry. I am R.N.PANDA. We will now discuss a new topic called atomic structure. It is one of the very important subject which a beginner of chemistry should understand very properly so that he can understand the entire chemistry that he is going to study in his +2 career. So in this atomic structure we will be discussing about Dalton's atomic theory, then discovery of the fundamental particles of atom, that is discovery of electron, discovery of proton, discovery of neutron. Then after studying the discovery of this electron and proton, we will discuss a model of atom which is proposed by Rutherford from the experiment called scattering of alpha particles, is called Rutherford nuclear model of atom. So these three topics, that they are there, three parts. Then we will go to the electromagnetic theory of radiation, then quantum theory, Planck's quantum theory, electromagnetic theory of electromagnetic radiation, then Bohr model of atom, then Bohr-Sommerfeld model of atom, then quantum numbers, then comes the electron configuration of the atom of different elements. So now coming to the Dalton's atomic theory. What do you mean by the word structure? What we are going to study today is an atomic structure, means what is there inside the atom. If the atom is so important, if this atom decides everything of the property of an element, then what is there in the atom? That is the thing the scientists started probing. So let's go now where from the atom began. So as early as 1803 to 1805, this John Dalton, the scientist John Dalton, proposed definition of an atom. He defined the atom. So what he says, that is John Dalton, he is towards 1803 to 1805. During this period, he proposed that the atom is the smallest particle of an element, may or may not have free existence, cannot be further subdivided, is responsible for all physical and chemical properties of the elements. What he says? He says the atom is the smallest particle of the element which may or may not have free existence, cannot be further subdivided, is responsible for all physical and chemical properties of the element. Properties of the element. So this is the definition what is proposed. This, he says the atom is the smallest particle. Why use the word particle here? If you say atom is a particle, yes, atom is a particle, but you have to point out what is a particle. Now particle is one which has the mass. It will have some mass. It has some volume and it has the state of inertia. Why? Now because the particle of the element. What is element? The matter exists in elementary state or in the combined state. In the elementary state it exists as element, and in the combined state it exists as compound. So when the matter is existing as element, how this element is existing? This existence of element is a particle existence. The matter consists of its own particles. Means what? If you say the oxygen matter element has the particles of oxygen in which oxygen is present, and that is existing as an atom. So whatever properties the element has, those properties the particle will have, and that properties are the particles of the atom. The atom is the smallest particle of an element, which may or may not have free existence. Means you may isolate an atom, or we may not be able to isolate an atom. Cannot be further subdivided. Means atom, you can't, the half atom, 1/4 atom, 1/8 atom will not be possible. The atom is the unitary existence of the element. The element, its unitary existence is the atom. For example, you say the centimeter is a unit of the CGS system. So it is the smallest unit it has been taken. Again 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter. Again 1 millimeter. It comes like this. But here also the atom, you cannot divide the atom. Half an atom so cannot exist. It is impossible, the indivisibility of atom, and responsible for all physical and chemical properties. Physical properties, whatever the element has, the boiling point, the melting point, the specific gravity, the density, all these are the physical properties. Then chemical properties means how it takes part in chemical combination with other elements to form compounds. That they explain its chemical properties of the element. Means what it means? Whatever the element has, the element, what is an element? The element is the simplest form of matter which cannot exist in still simpler form, and that element is existing as what? As a particle, and that particle is the atom. That particle is the atom. So this is the thing he proposed to define an atom. So to characterize an atom, to characterize this, what the atom he has thought of, he proposed a theory called as Dalton's atomic theory. So to characterize an atom, what do you mean by the word characterize? He wanted to explain what atom is, and what is the relationship between an atom and the element, and what the role the atom is playing. Everything that is called the characterize an atom, the character of an atom. So that proposed a theory called as Dalton's atomic theory. To characterize an atom, he proposed a theory called as Dalton's atomic theory. So what do you mean by the word theory now? Because you are the students, you have left your school, completed your 10th, and are entering into the higher second education. Here the medium of teaching will be in English, and you read everything in your own language. The school students of CBSE and ICSE schools, they have the English, their medium was teaching, but you other people, those who come from the Odisha board, you studied your science, mathematics, everything in your own language, and those now you are learning the science and learning the English word of that particular subject. So whenever you are coming across a word, you just try to know the meaning of the word. Then what do you call the word theory? So theory, we have to explain this. When a thought comes to explain a phenomenon, suppose there is a sound taking place outside. So many people will tell many things. So they have not seen why the sound is coming, but they are proposing certain idea about the sound depending on the nature of the sound. Without any verification, they are saying only thought. So the explanation of an event or a phenomenon that comes by is called hypothesis. That is called hypothesis. It is a compound word. Hypo means imaginary. Thesis means an original explanation. An original explanation is called thesis. I have submitted my thesis in the university for the award of doctorate in science in my subject. So a researcher, after completing his research, whatever he made his findings, both experiment and his conclusion, all these things he put in a form and submit to the university. The examiner, they examine it, then they declare him the doctorate, they award him the PhD degree. So the PhD degree is awarded on the basis of a thesis. So it is a original independent explanation of an event, that is called thesis. And how that came? It came here hypo, imaginary. So imaginary explanation. First, a scientist proposes an idea about a phenomenon or about an event. So that comes as a hypothesis. And when this hypothesis is generalized, that becomes a theory. When that hypothesis is generalized, that idea is applied to different events to explain, and that idea, what is proposed, correctly explain everything, then the hypothesis becomes a theory. And when this theory is experimentally verified or mathematically proved, then that becomes as a law. So when we were studying science in 1966, the Avogadro's law, which we are studying now, that we studied as Avogadro's hypothesis. So Avogadro not proposed the law because he has not experimentally verified, nor he has proposed mathematically proved it. But what he has generalized proved everything. And that came as a hypothesis, but that then straightly became a law, because all its applications were found to be correct. All those applications, they determine many fundamental aspects of the chemistry and physics. Hence, that became straight a law. Now the students are studying as Avogadro law. Avogadro's law was not proposed by Avogadro. Avogadro proposed that as hypothesis. So here it is a theory. Means Dalton, what he is going to characterize an atom, he has not verified them experimentally. It is generalization of the facts about atom. So the fundamental postulates of the Dalton's atomic theory are, what is one? So the atom is the smallest particle of an element which cannot be further subdivided. Then second, he says atom may or may not exist freely. Atom may or may not exist freely. The atom we may isolate an atom, or we may not be able to isolate an atom. Then third, atom of like elements are alike in all respects. What is this? Atom of like elements are alike means what? For example, we prepare oxygen. We take potassium chlorate and heat and get oxygen. Then we can take manganese dioxide, we can get oxygen. We can get oxygen by different methods, from different compounds, different substances. But when you come to the property of the oxygen atom, they will have the same property only. They will have the same property only. And so he says the atom of like elements are alike in all respects. In all respects. So then comes atoms of different elements. Atoms of different elements have different properties. For example, the oxygen is a supporter of combustion and hydrogen is combustible. So it is hydrogen atom is combustible. So hydrogen is combustible. And it is oxygen atom is supporting combustion. Hence, the oxygen is supporter of combustion. The element oxygen is supporter of combustion because the atoms of oxygen are supporting combustion. Atoms of hydrogen are combustible, hence the hydrogen element is combustible. So, but the property of different elements are different. So then he says, the atom is responsible for all physical and chemical properties of an element. Properties of an element. Whatever property an element exhibiting, it begins from the atom. It begins from the atom. So this is the way he proposed this. 5 postulates he proposed. And what this atom contains? The atom contains the matter of the element. It is a particle. It has mass. It has its own volume, the atomic volume. It has its atomic mass. So they contain what? The matter of the element. So the atom contains the matter of the element and it cannot be further subdivided. It may or may not exist freely. It is responsible for all physical and chemical properties. So to explain all these 5 properties, all the 5 postulates what Dalton has proposed, to me, if somebody puts a question to me, sir, kindly tell me in one sentence about the Dalton's atomic theory. So I can say all the 5 in one, all. So it can be concluded that all elementary properties of an element are atomic in nature. So it is the entire Dalton's atomic theory. We say all elementary properties, each element has its property. That element, that is called elementary property, and that elementary property begins from where? From the atom. For example, what is a existence? Human being. So the human being is an elementary existence. I took birth as a small infant baby, nascent baby. Then I became a baby. Then age started and I grew. I became a child, then adolescent, then come the youth, then come the old age, and I continue my life like this. But what I was, that I am now. I am not different. I am now a person, but I came as a baby to the world. So each human being has its elementary existence. And what is that? Or we can say each human being is an atomic existence of himself. Atomic existence of himself. For example, I am now an atom. I am an atom. I can say my existence is an atomic existence. How can I say this? If I go to Dalton's theory, the atom cannot be subdivided. I have 2 hands. I have 2 legs. I have 2 nostrils. I have 2 eyes. I have 2 ears. Now, so if 2 boys they come, sir, we will divide you and take. Okay, you take if you can. Then they will cut me into pieces. The moment I am cut into 2 pieces, I am no more existing. I am no more existing. The reason because I have 1 liver and I have 1 heart. I have 2 lungs, 2 kidneys, but I have 1 liver and 1 heart. So I cannot be divided. I am transforming myself from the nascent baby to child to adolescent to youth to old age. I have come different forms, but in all the forms my existence is atomic existence, because I cannot exist in still simpler form than I am existing. So my existence is an atomic existence. I cannot exist in a still simpler form than I am existing. So that has told by whom? That has been told by John Dalton is atomic theory. So this was 1803 to 1805. Then science developed and it started growing. Towards 1827, the electricity was discovered by Michael Faraday. And towards 1831, the application of electricity developed. Then towards 1831, all the matter, the either solid, liquid, gas, they were characterized again depending upon their behavior towards electric current. So those substances which conducted the electricity, solids conducted the electricity, were called as good conductor or conductor. The electric current could be passed through them, and all the metals are good conductors and non-metals are bad conductors. Like this, solids were divided 2 groups, conductor and bad conductor. So this bad conductor was also called as an insulator, because it is insulation, it is not allowing the electricity to pass. So instead of calling the bad conductor, they call them as insulator. Then came the liquids. They were divided in 2 classes, the electrolytes and non-electrolytes. Those liquids, they allowed the passage of electric current to them, conducted the electric current, they are called the electrolytes. And those which do not conduct the electricity were called as non-electrolytes. Then comes the gas, because the matter exists in 3 states. The gas were found to be non-conductor of electricity. In gaseous state, an element did not conduct electricity. No gas started conducting the electricity. Gas is existing as an atom. The element matter solid is existing in an atomic state. Liquid is existing in atomic state. But they conducted the electricity. They have 2 classes, but here all the gases were found to be non-conductor of electricity. Half a century went from 1830 to 1888, towards 50 years they went like this. People tried to know whether the gas will conduct electricity or not. Gas will conduct electricity or not. So then towards 1885-86, a group of scientists who were working over the passes of electric current through gas, they are called Michael Faraday, J.J. Thomson, the Crook, the Goldstein, Milken, all these scientists who were working about the passes of electric current through gas, to know the behavior of gas towards electric current by changing the properties by changing the states or by taking them into different states, the research was going on. Surprisingly, in the year 1885, towards 1880 to 85, it was found the gases started conducting electricity under reduced pressure. Under reduced pressure. When high voltage of electric current were passed through a gas under reduced pressure, generally the atmospheric pressure is 1 atmosphere, 76 centimeter or 760 mm. Then they decrease the pressure to 0.01 mm by allowing a gas to be in a vacuum pump, allowing the vacuum pump in a tube. They took the gas, they reduced the pressure of the gas, and they determined then they allowed the electric current to pass through that, and they went on increasing the voltage of the electricity, and they found under reduced pressure the high voltage of electricity was passed through gas, the gases started conducting electricity. That is called the gaseous discharge, and that led to the discovery of structure of atom. So from the passage of electric discharge through gas under reduced pressure, the structure of atom. What is the structure of atom? What the atom consists of, the behavior of atom, the atomic nature of atom. Where from this atomic nature of the atom comes? The atom is electrically neutral. It is neither positive nor negative. Why atom is neither negative nor positive? And this behavior of atom, they were interested to study what the atom really consists of, what is there inside the atom, which makes the atom to exhibit the elementary properties. That was the problem in the mind of the scientist, and they wanted to know the structure of the atom. And this, the electric discharge, discovery of electric discharge through gas, that led to the discovery of the two fundamental particles simultaneously. They were called as electron and proton. Now we'll come to the discovery of first the atom. Now we'll come to what the atom consists of. The atom was found to consist of three fundamental particles. So we'll come to Dalton's atomic theory. Now we are coming to fundamental particles of atom. That led to the discovery of structures, discovery of the fundamental particles of atom. That led to the discovery of structure of atom. So the atom consists of three fundamental particles. Three fundamental particles as electron, proton, and neutron. So here the concept of symbol is used, electron, because it comes to electric current. So electron, then proton, it has some positively charge effect. So neutron, no charge, and the particle, so it called neutron, proton, and electron. How the names came also I will be discussing you to explain you how the name came to the electron, why the name was given as a proton, why it was called as neutron, why neutron was called as neutron, or why proton was called proton. We will be discussing. So the atom consists of three fundamental particles, the electron, proton, and this electron and proton, they were discovered between 1886 to 1900. Everything about them could be known, and this neutron was discovered in year 1932. where everything of the atom was known, then the third fundamental particle could be discovered. The neutron could not be discovered along with electron and proton. So this came after 32 years. So this neutron is 32 years younger to this electron and proton. But a very important particle, the neutron bomb, is more powerful than the atomic bomb. So you say that, so we'll first discover the electron and proton, that is simultaneously they were discovered, and the scientists who were engaged in this discovery are in a group of scientists. They were working: Thomson, Crook, Goldstein, then Stoney, Faraday. All these scientists, they were simultaneously working. None the one is discovered electron. Somebody says so and so discovered electron. Some other book says so and so discovered electron. So we will avoid the confusion. So this group of scientists, so they discovered certain phenomenon, and from those phenomena led to the discovery of this electron, proton, and neutron. Now we'll come to the first study, the discovery of electron. So what they do? Discharge, electric discharge. What they took a tube or a hard glass test tube. They took a hard glass test tube, a hard glass tube made up of very hard glass. We can see things, but it is very hard, which will not break. And they attached two electrodes through which the electric current can be passed. Two electrodes, and they were connected to this to an induction coil through where the storage of electricity. So this is the induction coil where a high voltage of electricity is generated. Induction coil, and this is a positively charged electrode, and this is the negatively charged electrode. This positively charged electrode, it is called as anode, and this negatively charged electrode is called as a cathode. So they took the metallic electrodes. And here they had a vacuum pump. Vacuum pump means what? They took the gas inside, they decreased the pressure of the gas. How? The volume is inversely proportional to pressure. So if you want to inversely proportional. So if you go on the decreasing pressure, what is the volume? The volume is the total disposition of the particles in the space. That is called the volume. And because of their collision against the walls of the container and against themselves, because of that they generate a pressure. And that is the pressure of the gas. And that pressure was decreased by whom? By the vacuum pump. They went on decreasing the pressure of the gas. Generally pressure is 1 atmosphere. So they decreased the pressure about 0.01 mm of mercury. 760 mm is the pressure of 1 atmosphere. So they went to this decrease of this. And they passed 10,000 volts of electricity. Electric current was passed through this. So they took a gas and they connected the two electrodes to the induction coil, then allowed to pass the electric current through the gas by having here they have a key, and from the key, when they put the key button, the electric current circuit is completed, the electric current went in. Then what is electric current? It is energy. What the energy does? Do a work. What is there inside the discharger? The gas. What gas it consists of? The molecules. What is a molecule? The atoms combine to form a molecule. What is a molecule? Atoms of the element combine to form a molecule. And all elementary gas molecules are diatomic. They took oxygen, they took hydrogen, they took nitrogen, different gas. They took different gas. elementary gas, because the atom they want to know the structure of atom. Then what they have to take? They have to take an elementary gas. And how that molecule is, how the gas is existing, element is existing, is a molecular state. What is a molecule? Combination of atom. Two atoms of hydrogen form a molecule of hydrogen. Two atoms of oxygen form a molecule of oxygen, like this. And the gas is there. And now they are passing electric current. Means imagine just what is happening here. You have a cloth, and now the cloth, you are stretching it. You are increasing the volume. When you increase the volume, pressure is decreasing. So here the same thing. They are decreasing the pressure. So the volume is actually increasing. Reduced pressure means what? That the volume is, that means all the gas molecule is expanding. And at that time they are applying the electric current. What will happen? It will open. What is there inside the atom will open, not break. Atom will not break, the atom will open. Opening and breaking, they are two different things. You have suppose one thing, another cover. You rotate and you got the cover, open it. But if you strike it, break it, it will go into pieces. So here it is open, the atom will get open. So they allowed the electric current to pass. First they what found? When they decreased the pressure, they found there is a bright light inside the gas. Green light they got inside the gas. Then they decreased the pressure. So then they found that light is coming and touching the glass tube and producing a bright light, and the bright light called as scintillation, and that property of is called the luminescence. So that they found this. So that led to the scientists to conclude that under reduced pressure, where high voltage of electricity is passed through a gas, the gas is conducting electric current. Means what? The molecules, they are getting into atom. The atom is now opening, and what is there inside the atom, they got open, and they are now conducting the electric current. This is the idea the scientists got from the discharge through gas. So when the high voltage of electricity was passed through a gas in a discharge tube, they call this as a discharge tube. The discharge tube is made up of glass. It is made up of glass. Discharge tube. How much? 10,000 volts of electricity was passed through the gas. A glow appeared to emerge. I am using the word appear to emerge. Appear to emerge from cathode and proceeded towards anode. Towards anode. This is the cathode. This is the cathode. A glow appear to emerge. Very nicely the word the scientist has written. Appear to emerge means the glow is not coming from cathode. Many often we are getting confused. Cathode is producing cathode. No, the cathode is not producing cathode ray. It is the gas all its around. The material of the gas all its around. Because of that, the glow is coming out. So appear to emerge from cathode. A glow appear to emerge from cathode and proceeded towards anode. Proceeded towards anode, and that was named as cathode rays. That is named as cathode rays because it comes around the cathode and proceeded towards anode. That means what? It is coming from a negatively charged side to positive side. Means what? It must be consisting of some negative charge in it. It is proceeding towards anode. It could have gone that side. It is not going that side. It is coming this side. Means it is going towards anode. Means it must be consisting of what? Some negatively charged particles. So what the gas is there? The gas is a molecular state. What is a molecule? The molecule consists of the atoms, and these atoms, inside the atom, some negatively charged particles are present. And they are energetic particles. They are what? They are energetic particles. Why? That is producing a glow. A glow produced towards glow and proceeded towards anode. And the properties of this cathode rays were studied by J.J. Thomson. We will say the very high voltage of electric current, means about 10,000 volts, were passed through a gas under reduced pressure, that is 0.01 mm of Hg in the discharge tube through the gas in the discharge tube a glow means a bright light, a stream of bright light, a glow appeared to emerge from cathode and proceeded towards anode. What is anode? Positively charged electrode. Anode were called as cathode rays. So when a high voltage of electricity, 10,000 volts, were passed through a gas under reduced pressure in a discharge tube, a glow appeared to emerge from cathode, proceeded towards anode, were named as the cathode rays. The properties of the cathode rays, were studied by J.J. Thomson et al. ETAL means a group of scientists. Not only J.J. Thomson, his group. Other people also working, all other laboratories. Whatever Dalton, whatever Thomson observed, he noted it first. So they were called as the properties of the cathode rays were studied by J.J. Thomson et al. Means the group of the scientists working with J.J. Thomson. What are the properties? Now, one, the cathode rays when proceeded from the side of cathode towards anode, produced shadow of the object, opaque object, kept on their path. Very interesting and important. So when the cathode rays were proceeded from cathode towards anode, produced a shadow of an opaque object. What is opaque object? An object which does not allow the passage of light. And any substance which allow the light to pass is called transparent. Any substance which allow the light to reflect, like mirror, is a reflecting surface. And if you take a glass, through glass slab the light goes, we call that phenomenon as a refraction. And but here what has happened, that your opaque object means it is not allowing the light to pass. They found a shadow of the opaque object. So when the shadow comes, already the science, the optics has confirmed that when the light, this is the object we kept, and now light is coming, and this light, this cathode ray of the object, they call this shadow here. Means what? Why this shadow comes? Because the light travels in straight line. The light always travels in straight line, and it cannot cross the light, the object, opaque object, so it will produce its shadow. So hence they conclude that the cathode rays must be propagating in straight line like light, because light is producing shadow. The sunlight or light object, the light comes from an object, from a source, producing the shadow of the object, because the light travels in straight line, and the cathode rays are producing shadow of the opaque object, hence they must be moving in straight line. So the first property of the cathode rays are propagating in straight line with very high velocity. That means that the cathode rays propagate in straight line like light, hence we get the shadow of the object. The other properties of the cathode rays we will study in our next class. So continue next class, will study the other properties of the cathode rays.